everybody, welcome to the Sinead Reel. I am here with Shabazz from Real Construction Group. You guys remember Shabazz from last week. He was giving us all of the information about DIY projects that you can actually do at home. So he's back again this week with us. Thank you so much for coming back.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much for having me. By the way, last time I had a blast. You asked some great questions, and I'm very sure that the audience got some great value out of it. So good job. It was awesome.
So Shabazz, I want to start off by telling you that you are a fan favorite on my YouTube channel.
Thank you.
My Facebook, Instagram, people love you. So
awesome.
You're providing some really good information. So we want you back as much as possible.
Awesome. Sure. It'll be a pleasure.
What we're going to be talking about is workspace, specifically workspaces for your condo. As a parent, I know a lot of people want to share their workspace with their children as well. So how do we optimize that? And what does optimize even mean? And in the last part of this video, we are going to discuss what it takes to start with you in the custom world. So I want to build a custom home, and I want you to start me up and tell me what step one is.
Okay, awesome. So should we start with the office spaces first?
Please, yes.
All right, awesome. So there's a few things that we can incorporate in an office space, especially if it's at home. So once it's going to be at home, you already know, not everybody lives at home alone. Mm-hmm. So we always have siblings, we have family members, we have parents. Everybody has a different family setup. So number one thing is I would first design the area that needs to be the office. So for some people, it could be the walk-in closet. Some people it could be the den, some people it could be the solarium or the sunroom or anything that they want to call it. And how I would do it is, number one, you got to find out what business you're in. So most of the businesses, they require some sort of phone calls. So you're calling a client, you're calling some of your team members, you're organizing some of the items. So having sound blocked is the number one priority. Because
so how do we do that?
So soundproofing is one thing that you can incorporate. If you can go and do full renovation, there's also padding in other areas that you could do. If the door is a hollow core door, there's something called a solid core door. So solid core door means it's all solid. It means that there's less penetration of noise traveling through. So those are some few little items that you can incorporate in order to block sound, because blocking sound is the number one priority. Because when you're working from home, you don't want to give the feeling that you're working from home, because you want to give the feeling of professionalism.
Yes.
Right? So that would be the number one thing, is to have the sound created. Second is, if you're creating a space, especially in your condo, you have limited space. So that means that we have to have smart technology, which could be organizing everything vertically. So what I had done previously in my past office, because it was a smaller one, and I was actually sharing it with a coworker, so I had limited space because I had a really small desk. So what I had to do was I went to Staples, I bought these like file holders that you could just screw into the walls. And
that's a good idea.
It was really helpful, because first, when paper starts to pile up, it just starts to look like overwhelming work. And then you never want to go through it because it looks like stacks of work that you don't want to organize. Mm-hmm. So what we did was I actually organized like this file holders that you just screw into the wall. So I had one area which was which was like new leads. That the other one was existing clients. Then it was deliveries. Then it was products. Then it was like financials, logistics, based on everybody's system. So you can go vertical, which will be really, really helpful, because you got to use the vertical space.
Yeah.
After that,
right? Like, especially with an entrepreneur, let's say, or a young professional, a lot of us now, the time that we're in, we're all going to be shifting to work from home.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
Not all of us. I think at least 80 to 90% of us. So we have to create, and in terms of mindset, we have to create a more functional, organizational way to put our documents out and to remain organized. Because when we're in the office, you pull open the drawer and you have everything lined up, but when you're at home, you don't have that. You know, your tax box is under the bed.
Yes, it is.
Your laptop is on your bed while you're eating on your bed. So it's like, it's a little chaotic. So it's so important in terms of mindset as well, to have a functional space.
Yes, absolutely. Now, if somebody's starting from home, the first thing they could do is they can also buy used furniture, office furniture, because not everything needs to be brand new, because first we're teaching everybody how to do everything, the whole setup in a good with financial intelligence, which means that if you get a brand new desk or used desk, it performs the same. It makes no difference.
It does. Yeah. It does, exactly. And you can always paint it, you can always spray paint it. And also something I think that's so key is a whiteboard. I just bought
Oh
a
my
whiteboard.
God, yes. Yes. I think, yes, you just got one. You were telling me about it.
Can you believe I don't have a whiteboard? Like, it's so important to have that because you, like you have in your office, you have motivational pictures, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So tell us a little bit about that, because with the whiteboard, it's the same concept. It's about mindset. And so what you visualize and what you see comes into fruition. You have a creative way to keep visualizing for success in your office. Tell me a little bit about that.
So there's two things that I've done. So on my whiteboard, what I did was a lot of times when we do repetitive work, sometimes we get a bit exhausted, and especially from the part of the job that you're not really too passionate about. Like me, I'm not really the accounts guy or the admin guy. I like to talk. I like to express myself. I like to put the ideas together and create some beautiful concepts. But every time now I got to take all the information and type it up into like line items, because when we price a home, we got to go line item, write the description, write the quantity, write the area, write the price, blah, blah, blah. So it gets a little bit boring, especially after you've done like 200-300 jobs. So it gets repetitive. So what I've done is on the side of my whiteboard, I've written down, love the process, because the process is what gets you to see the end fruit. So every time when I see it, and there's times when I'm getting drained out or when I'm getting exhausted, I look at the whiteboard and it says, love the process. And then below that, it says, be grateful for every moment that you have. So that puts me in the right mindset, because sometimes I may feel like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. But then I look at be grateful. I'm like, hey man, at least I'm so grateful that I have a client that I can speak to, or I'm busy. So it puts me back into the gratitude state, which puts me in a positive state. That means when I do my work, it comes with positive energy. So that's like number one thing that creates an abundance mindset right away. Also, what I've done is I've done about like 6 or 7 posters around my desk. Each one of those posters are from my favorite mentors or leaders or role models that I've put together. And it'll be funny because each day, one of the sayings will stand out to me more, because we're emotional beings. So we never are the same people every day. Every day emotions change. So we feel different. The day is different. And nothing really changed. The sun came up the same way. You came back to the same office. You're dealing with the same task. But every day when we emotionally feel different, one of the posters will stick out more.
So
there's
what's for you today?
So there's a poster that I have by Gary Vee, who's a very profound businessman. He's the most rawest and the most honest, straightforward entrepreneur right now these days on social media. So Gary Vee, I have his poster and it says,
we all know Gary Vee.
I love that guy. He's
tag him on this video.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gary Vee, I have his quote and it says, how bad do you want it?
Oh, I know. Yeah, he likes saying that.
Yeah. And the funniest thing is that poster faces where I normally eat lunch. So when I'm eating lunch, I look up and it's always Gary Vee looking at me saying, how bad do you want it? Because right after lunch, we always tend to get a little bit lazy.
Yeah. Because
the food sets in.
Something I want to talk to you about for creating space, aside from workspace, a little workout or gym space in your home, but we'll get to that next.
Sure, absolutely, of course.
So pivoting back to your the mindset. So
yes, so mindset is crucial. So it is
absolutely, especially when you're working from home.
Yep, and what we owe as a duty to every single client is our very best, because you can't tell him, I'm exhausted from the last job I'm doing, because to that person, his home and his property is the most. Your client, when you're showing them properties, just because the last client you spend so much time, you can't be drained out. You got to give your very best. So it's always good to come reset, look at the board, and it says, love the process, which means that you will get exhausted, you will get tired, you will answer the same question. At the bottom, it says, be grateful that you have this moment. And then when you look at all these posters, they kind of just re-energize you. And they bring a new power with it.
So, I mean, in all of the books, all of the abundance mindset books, they say that, like Think and Grow Rich, they say creative, a vision board.
Yes.
All of that good stuff. But I read a book called The One Thing. And so literally, it's choose the one thing. And so when you pen out your entire day on that whiteboard, even if it's not a whiteboard, even if it's just like a piece of paper and you stick it on your wall,
Yep.
and you see that one thing. If you have 5 things to do and you do that one thing, you
Yep.
will feel like, okay,
Accomplished.
yeah, of course, I did something today,
Yes.
right? Well,
So there's a funny story you reminded me. There's a story about this one entrepreneur. He's a business owner. He was a really good business. Like, he's a business owner. The business is growing step by step. But one of the employees would see that there was some missing links. So he walked up to the boss one day and he goes like, "Sir, I can help you improve your company by 25%. He goes like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes like, "Okay, show me." So the guy goes like, "Okay, no problem. I'll get back to you." But he was so busy. Later at the end of the day, he felt so exhausted. He went back to that guy. He goes like, "Hey man, I really want to know how you can improve my company by 25%. He's like, "Can you show me?" He's like, "Yeah, no problem." He's like, "Do me a favor. Take out a white piece of paper." He's like, "Okay." Takes out a white piece of paper. He's like, "Take out a pen." The guy writes a pen. He's like, "I want you to write down the numbers 1 to 6. So the guy writes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then he's like, on the top, write down my priority. He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Every morning when you start the day, all I want you to do is write the 6 most important tasks that you have to accomplish that day." He goes like, "This is all I want you to do." The guy's like, "This is it?" He's like, "Yep, that's it." Anyways, the conversation finished. The business owner, he started to practice that. A month later, he calls one of the coworkers and he goes like, "Hey man, my company didn't just improve 25%, it improved 50%. He goes like, "Just by what you told me." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Honestly, send me your invoice because I owe you one." The guy sent him a $25,000 invoice just for that one task. And then the owner called him and he goes like, "You're charging me $25,000? He goes like, "Yeah, not for the list, just to help you become aware of what your true potential is and what priorities are." And that itself was the story why he charged, because he said, "If I don't make you pay a certain amount, you will forget the lesson." So he didn't need the money. He did it just so the business owner can understand what priorities mean. And when you accomplish one at a time, you achieve levels of success beyond, because sometimes we pile up so much.
So much. We have
and we think,
on the go. And
yeah,
then but then it's a consistency too, right? Because then
absolutely.
you want to do 6 things. But if you only
Yes.
do 6 things once, then it doesn't make sense.
No,
Like these
absolutely
videos,
not.
people expect to see us on this every single week.
Yep. And we compounded.
Consistency. And I think the more that you put that out there, that you're doing this one task, eventually it's going to pay off.
Absolutely. And it always does. Because accomplishment and service at the end of the day is what fulfills us. It's funny because there's a saying, whatever you do for yourself will die with you. Whatever you do for others will live on forever.
It's true. Yeah.
And I've never forgot ever since I heard that saying.
I'm going to write that down actually, because that's a good one. So going back to this video, let's talk about office space for condos, because like we said, there is a lot of there's not much space that you can play with, and I'm not sure if you do any custom designs. Have you done any custom designs for condos?
Yeah, so we have actually incorporated like millwork, custom cabinetry, like shelving and design setup just for all the office spaces. And they normally, every office space is a bit different based on their requirements. So we let them pick and choose what their main things are, but we always ask for the checklist. Okay, what is the priority? What's the usage? How do you normally function? Okay, I normally have these much papers. I have a printer. I need this. So we'll incorporate the whole layout. We'll create the whole millwork design, and then the top cabinetry and the shelving, because all the paper that gets printed and all the clients that need to handle, they need to be filed somewhere. So because information needs to be easily accessed. Now, a lot of companies and softwares have gone on cloud, which is really, really, really helpful.
Yeah, my brokerage is cloud-based.
Exactly. And I would, if you're working from the condo, I would look at more cloud-based systems and interfaces that you can go, because the least amount of paper that you have, the more tidy and organized your space would be. Because you can just have, instead of having so many files, what you could do is you can add a second screen. Like on my office, I have 2 screens. So I have my laptop and then I have a second screen. So I'm able to work on multiple documents. And sometimes you need to look at one document to the other. And once you're going to go cloud-based, it's hard to just change windows all the time, because it's annoying. So normally I'll recommend to have 2 screens, run it down, and then this way your whole space is organized and it's all cloud-based. So That would be really, really, really helpful.
Yeah, that is going to be super helpful, especially if you don't know what cloud-based is. You can get in touch with us and we can give you a quick little download on what that means. And then also
Absolutely.
a fun hack, you can actually set up your laptop to screencast to your TV.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Right now, one of my friends, he's a business owner. He's like, hey, man, I came home. It's awesome. I have like an 80-inch screen TV and I can just do all my office work from here. But the only thing is Netflix and all the other programs are there as well. So you want to make sure that you remove any type of distraction that the mind can possibly go into, because there'll be a point of exhaustion and then the mind looks for an escape or a retreat or some sort of a reward. So if those things are accessible, you will distract yourself. But those things are good.
100%. Like, so what I used to do was I used to work from my bed. So I would take my laptop into my bed because, you know, like I'm a realtor, so I work all day, all night.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I would actually take my laptop into my bed and I would like put a pillow and I would just do my work. And then I'm like, this is not realistic. Like this can't happen. But then I'll like play a YouTube video and I'll get distracted and then I'll start watching the YouTube video.
And then you're gone. And then you're gone.
Minutes, and it's taking like 4 hours.
Yep. So first would be the soundproofing. Next would be to organize all the millwork and the stationery. Third would be if you have to have any sort of files, because a person like me, I need to see the things in front of me for me to kind of always remember and energize myself, because the only downfall about cloud-based is literally goes away. So you have to be disciplined enough to go back and retrieve all the documentation, because once it gets stored, it's not in your face anymore. So you want to make sure you don't forget it.
You want to make sure you're an expert too in terms of
but just
make sure that you're choosing the right interface.
Yeah, and then just like what you said was the whiteboard. So if there's anything that needs to be done, so make sure you have a section on the whiteboard that keeps reminding you of your major tasks. So even if everything is cost-based, at least all the names and clients and all your tasks are right in front of you. Yeah, that would be like a big deal.
If you have any ongoing tasks, like the way I would break to I get my whiteboard, the way I would break it down is ongoing, current, daily, and immediate.
Absolutely. Right? Yes, exactly.
So now you told me something very cool that you did with the kitchen space for the space
for the homeowners. Yes.
Everyone can have that in their kitchen. Can you tell us more?
Sure. So what we found is, as the families are growing and everything is becoming fast-paced, moms and parents or whoever's looking after the kid is normally getting home from a full day and they need to cook food, they need to organize and things, you know, the personal chores. So what we started doing was we started incorporating desks at the end of the kitchen. So when a mom or the father would get home and they're cooking, at least the kids are in front of them, because most of the kids, like myself, when I was younger, I never wanted to finish my homework. So I would find every single excuse to kind of get away from it. So at least now when the kids are sitting there, first, you're watching them because it's safe.
Yes.
Second, you're making sure that maybe if the kid has any questions, you're right there and you're approachable and you can help them right away.
Yeah.
Third, you're not letting go of your task, because now you're not putting your house at risk, which means something's cooking or whatever. Now you got to run downstairs, check on the kid, and he asks you a question and you get distracted. You come upstairs and God forbid there's some sort of a situation.
Yeah.
So first is safety. Second, it's more organized. And then third, it's more approachable. So what we do is we'll have like the kitchen. So we'll have like the whole kitchen, all the necessities that the homeowners need. At the very end, we'll just have like a drop down. We'll have like a drawer, 1 or 2 drawers, so they can put all the stationery and everything in there. And then on the right side, based on how many kids or what type of family lifestyle they have, we'll incorporate a few different doors. So they can have the paper, they can have the notepads, they can have the stationery, they have like everything approachable. One house that we did, I really like them because kids these days, they love iPads, and every kid's growing up with an iPad and YouTube and everything. So we were able to incorporate like a little stand where the iPad would always be plugged in.
Got it.
Yeah, and then the kids will just sit there, and even if they want to play the games or whatever after, they'll take a little break and they can take the iPad, they can do some stuff, and then they can get back to studying. So you want to kind of make that area fun, because if it just feels like jail, like you're going to go into this one corner and all you're going to do is your homework, the kid's going to hate that part of the home. So you want to make that part of the home fun and enjoyable.
Do their homework.
Exactly, because it's fun, right? So we had the iPad incorporated, and then the desk space and everything. So every homeowner and the parent, like, they really enjoyed it, because first it was safe. It was like
I've never seen
interaction.
like that, so I would love to share with the viewers
Sure.
those pictures.
Sure. I think I still have, I don't know, I run through a lot of phones because I'm in construction, so every now and then I crack them. But I'm very confident I have some of those designs somewhere, so I'll find them for you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm sure you have a picture or two.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure I do it. I'll find it for you, and then you can tag it on the video.
Okay, good, perfect. Yeah, because we would love to see your work. We would love to see some of the office spaces that you've done as well, just to give people a great idea of what
Absolutely.
a custom office would look like.